Hello everyone, this week I am bringing to you, perfect for fall, a review of Acqua di Parma's Fico di Amalfi. Stay tuned. I have already recorded the review, or the first impressions I should say, of this, the Acqua di Parma Discovery set that I bought. I recorded a video, a little bit of me talking about Fico di Amalfi, but I didn't like it, so I trashed it. So we're starting over. So let me tell you a little bit about the brand before I tell you about the fragrance itself. Acqua di Parma was founded in 1913, shockingly, in the town of Parma in Italy. The original fragrance was Colonia, which is this beautiful citrusy soapy fragrance that you'll hear me talk about a little bit next week. But the brand itself has kind of created its own identity for being like many firsts in Italy, it sounds like. And from what I understand of the house, and kind of learned from their discovery set as well, everything is very, very citrus focus forward. Very heavy on the citruses, which I love. One other little thing I love too are the boxes these come in. They're these like little hat boxes, essentially. And they were originally designed that way to fit in nicely with the other things that this was going to be sold alongside of in the haberdasheries and things like that in Italy. So kind of a nice little flavor here. They're nice little boxes too, I like them. But it is what's inside that matters. So today, Fico di Amalfi, which translates, I believe, to figs of the Amalfi Coast. And that is kind of a recurring theme with a lot of stuff in this house. It seems like there seems to be a lot of thematically based fragrances, especially in this blue Mediterranean line. This was not the first, and it was certainly not the last. There are flankers, I think, that come out yearly still for this. And from what I can tell, they all seem to be celebrations of different parts of Italy with different citruses from Italy. One other thing that I noted that I thought was really interesting that I thought about after the fact, I was noticing on the, actually, you know what? Let's talk about that later. Let's talk about the fragrance. So the fragrance itself, Fico di Amalfi, fig of the Amalfi Coast. As you can imagine from the name, there's a whole lot of fig involved in it. There's, I think, not just fig, the fruit, but I think also fig leaves and fig stems, I think was one of the things. I could be wrong about that. I'll throw the notes up here as well. But in addition to the fig, there's also like the marked citruses, and then in the base, there's these woods. I will say though, I think this is really all about the citruses and the figs. The woods, I think, offer a supporting piece. So when you first spray this on, like I said, you're gonna get that big blast of citruses. And I've got a little bit on here that's about half hour old at this point. And at that point, a lot of the original juicy citrus has flown off, and we're down to just kind of more of the sweet figs, a little bit of floral, because that's, I think that's one of the things about fig. It's not like a strawberry or an orange or something like that. There's kind of a floral aspect to it as well. I think that's the case with like lychee. If you ever smell or taste lychee to me, I love it. It's one of my favorites, but it tastes like perfume smells, if that makes any sense. And I think similarly, fig is in kind of a camp where it smells fruity, but it doesn't smell only fruity. Like there is a floral aspect to it, a richness, which is, I think, the name of the game with this. When I first got this and I first sprayed it on, I was like, oh, that's just a really pretty scent. And I just thought it was kind of lovely, and I went on with my day and didn't realize until I'd kind of spent more time with it, the amount of depth that exists in this fragrance. And I'm gonna spray some on a strip so I get a fresh one here. So I want to talk about that because I think that this is one of the most beautiful scents that I've got in my entire collection. And one of the consistent, understandable, but consistent things that I hear people complain about, especially with this brand, is the performance. And this is what I wanted to tie in earlier. I noticed on the Discovery set that all of their fragrances, from eau de toilettes or from eau de colognes through eau de parfums, they're all 20% by volume. I started to think about that, and then I started to think about what I had smelled in that. and it suddenly made sense to me. So this is an eau de toilette. Colonia, for instance, is an eau de cologne, and then the signatures of the sun fragrances are all eau de parfums. I don't know tons yet. I'm still learning about everything, but one thing I do know is that citruses are among the least expensive natural ingredients that you can get. They're also among the most volatile, which means that they're going to fly off you the fastest. So if you are making a citrus heavy fragrance that's based in a lot of naturals, the way that Colonia and the Blue Mediterranean lines are, you're going to have to ramp up that percentage of citruses in order to keep that even small or even larger amount, to keep it around longer, because it is citrus. People complain about the performance of these. My point is, there's an element of that's just how nature works, and that's why oranges smell like oranges and not like woods. You know, the fixatives, the things that are in the base of the fragrance, those are what cling on to the skin. The beautiful citruses, the things that you love the smell of that don't last as long as you wish they did, those are the naturals, the citruses that are in this fragrance. But there are ways to mitigate that. I've talked about it in another video, but Juliet has a gun. You know, putting some Cetilox down before you spray the fragrance can help adhere it to the skin a little bit longer. But I'll also say this is one of the things I love about Acqua di Parma. Because they are using lots of citruses and beautiful ones. And you'll hear about it next week in the Discovery set, but they are really gorgeous. Because they're using so many citruses and things like that, you can just reapply. And here's the key, they're not crazy expensive. Like these, when I talk about value, I am weighing the price of something with the quality of something. And if something has a lower price than the quality would suggest, I say that's a good value. Acqua di Parma is one of the best values in fragrance, from what I understand, like from my experience in smelling this and the other fragrances. They are all aggressively priced for what they are, which I think they can be because they're largely citruses, right? So they're a little bit cheaper to make than maybe some other things, but the quality is still there. They smell beautiful, but they're not crazy expensive. So if you need to reapply, just reapply. Buy another bottle. The Fico di Amalfi bottle I have here is a 5-ounce, 150, thank you, Crow, 150 milliliter bottle. I think I get between about 4 to 5 hours of performance when I spray this stuff. And that's just fine for me. I think that bottle was like 80 bucks. 80 or 90 bucks. It's not that much online, and that seems to be the case across the board. Maybe a little bit more for some of their signature, the Sun series, but for the Blue Mediterranean, for the original Colonias, which I definitely want to get some bottles of, they're very reasonably priced. So this brand, they don't get that much love because I think distribution inside of the United States isn't very good. They're owned, I believe, maybe still, I'm not sure if still, but they were bought by, at one point, Louis Vuitton, something Hennessy, the LVMH. So they're part of that group, but for some reason, getting their stuff inside the United States was difficult for me. Like there's no place near me. I'm not in San Francisco, I'm not in New York, so there's no place nearby where I can actually just go and smell their stuff. I had to buy the Discovery set, and there's a whole lot of things that I actually want to smell that are not in the Discovery set. I'll either just have to do like a lucky scent thing or blind buy them, which maybe I'll do, I don't know. There was enough in the Discovery set though that I want to get, that I really want to explore more of this house. I will say this, again, I feel like there are a couple of common things that I hear about this house. Number one, everyone seems to really like their fragrances. Number two, they kind of get trashed for performance a little bit, which, I don't know. For me, the performance one feels unfair because it's what they're made out of. You know what I mean? Like they are, you go to the website and they talk about the fact that they're like using natural ingredients, and that's what's going to happen when you're using citruses. Like no one complains about like a fragrance that is all fixative, lasting forever. Like, but that's not the fault of the fixative. That's just the way it works. And likewise, if you're doing something that's citrusy, unless you do a whole bunch of aroma chemicals or something like that to artificially boost the performance, if your goal is to just have something that's a celebration of the natural, this is going to be the end result. I think, honestly, I don't know out there who is doing citruses that I like the smell of better. It's not Hermes. I mean, Hermes smells fine, but they don't smell anything close to this good. So, who's out there doing citruses better than these guys? I'm unaware of anyone. If the price that I have to pay for this quality is that it lasts 2.5 hours less than something else, done. That is such an easy trade-off for me. The profile for Fico di Amalfi is incredible. This is one of the few fragrances where I do say blind buy it. You can get a sample if you want. This is, I think, probably their most popular fragrance in the house. Oh, man, and for good cause. This is an unbelievably beautiful unisex fragrance. Better for spring and summer, if I'm honest, but I'm definitely going to occasionally steal smells of this in the winter and the fall just to remind myself of, what I'm missing. So, to round it all out, I say go blind, buy a bottle of this. You can get a smaller bottle, they're less expensive, but you could get the big one and it's not gonna break the bank, and you're gonna have an incredible smell that you'll love for a goodly amount of time until you have to buy a backup or another one. Thank you for joining me. All I'm sure 15 of you that see this around the time that it comes out. Maybe some people will be searching for this in the spring and the summer, but I assume this is gonna be one of my least viewed videos. But I will say too, for anyone that's still here, this is kind of a little bit more what it's gonna be for a little while. I've got a lot of discovery sets. I've spent the last year and a half kind of spreading my net far and wide. I've smelled a million designers. As I mentioned, I think in the Acqua di Parma discovery set video, I'm getting really tapped out on designers. It's just all starting to run together for me. So I'm wanting to explore different stuff. I'm going further into the niche world, but you can't just blind buy bottles of the niche stuff unless you have that crazy amount of FU money. So I am getting discovery sets, doing first impressions, going through those, learning about them. As I mentioned with the video you'll see next week, I'm going to continue to wear those fragrances, get to know them, and at some point down the road I'll do a follow-up video talking about the ones from it that I like the most now that I've had time to actually wear them, like I'm doing with the Eldo Discovery Kit that I did the last few weeks. So if that's the sort of thing that interests you, please let me know. Please let me know other houses that I should be checking out. I have a whole big list, but I'm just going through and grabbing discovery sets when I can. So please leave a comment below if you are familiar with Acqua di Parma and you have other recommendations from the house. I absolutely want to hear them. I also have the discovery set discussion coming next week, so please do stay around for that and tell me your thoughts on that, because I could use some guidance and steerage when it comes to this stuff. So thank you very much. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.